There have been some awesome vehicles released in GTA Online in the most recent update, with the likes of the Benefactor LM87, Pegasi Terrera XO, and the classic Droga all catching the eyes of the player base. However, the most recent addition to the lineup of fantastic cars may be my favorite of them all. For those of you who have been watching this series from day one, you might remember that the original Imponte Ruiner was the first vehicle that our boy Desmond ever owned. He picked it up off the side of the street and it helped him get his footing in the tough and rough environment of Los Santos. It's been a few months since that fateful day, but now everything has come full circle. Desmond is now the proud owner of a CEO business, a biker clubhouse, a bunker, and a nightclub. He has completed different heists, missions, and contracts, and spent a concerning amount of money on different outfits and clothing items. Desi may have grown into a rich, accomplished criminal mastermind, but deep down he is still that same troublemaking Aussie bloke who stumbled into Los Santos a few months ago. So today we are going to pay tribute to that by purchasing the new and improved Imponte Ruiner ZZ8. This version of the car goes for $1.3 million on Southern San Andreas Super Autos, but honestly, even if this thing cost $10 million, I would still be buying it. You just can't put a price on sentiment. Now, with that purchased, if we head down to our garage, we should have a new ride waiting for us. And there she is, my darling Imponte Ruiner in its new form, and I couldn't be more excited to take it out for a spin. But before that, let's head over to the mod shop to spec this baby out. Obviously, this version of the Ruiner is far superior in many ways, but I wanted to stay close to the design of my first ever car. And I'm going to do this by sticking to the same color palette as I did with my original Ruiner. Green and gold to show off Desmond's Australian roots. Nothing else would suffice. Alongside being a very special car to me, it also has a load of customization features that I almost didn't even know what to do with myself. It took a lot of tinkering around with different color accents, color combos, and liveries, but finally I settled on a design. In the end, it turned out pretty basic, but that's what I wanted. An homage to the original. Taking it too extreme just wouldn't feel right. And would you look at that, a new fully upgraded ZZ8. With all the sentiment around this car lineage and the overall quality of the build, I think I may have a new favorite vehicle in GTA Online. But of course that is only in looks and emotion. We really need to see how this thing drives before passing any final judgment. So you bet your ass we're going to put the pedal to the metal and test this thing out. However, just before we get to that, I want to put it in its rightful place inside my garage. It only feels right to have the two different versions of the Ruiners side by side. So let's go do that. Ah, there we go. Look at that. Like two peas in a pod. The old and the new parallel to each other. It's almost like a visual representation of how far we've come. And speaking of how far we've come, I just want to take this time to thank all of you guys. It's been exactly 3 months, bar a day or so, since I uploaded the first video on this channel. Since then, that video has gotten over 35,000 views, which by itself is ridiculous, but the channel as a whole has grown far beyond even my wildest dreams. We are currently sitting at 2.1k subscribers with over 140,000 views on the channel altogether, and that's all down to you guys and your incredible support for each and every video. I have always wanted to entertain and build a community, and you've given me the chance to do that, so just thank you so much for all the love you've given me over these past 3 months, and I hope that my channel can continue to grow and get better as time goes on. Okay, enough with all that sappy shit. Desmond is getting impatient and wants to drive his new car, so let's let him go do that. Alright, don't judge the guy. Crashing and beating up the car is just Desmond's own personal way of testing if the car is ready to handle what, let's be honest, will probably happen to it in the future. And thankfully it survived, so that's good news. But now we have to put it up to a real test. And you know on this channel we love a cheeky time trial, so that's what we're gonna do. This week's time trial is LSIA 2, which is one I've never attempted before, so it's gonna be interesting if the ZZ8 will be good enough to complete it. Last time we did a time trial we used the LM87, which is one of the fastest cars in the game, and we only just made it, so this should be interesting. We are required to get a time of under 2 minutes and 24 seconds, and considering we have to get from the airport to the observatory, I'm actually quite worried if we'll be able to complete this or not. But I have faith in my Ruiner, so come on, don't ruin this for me. You see what I did there? You get it, because it's a pun on the name. Our first attempt went a little something like this. Yeah, so apparently this car can wheelie. That's cool, I guess, but not exactly the start we needed. So we restarted after just 4 seconds, which isn't looking promising. Attempt number 2 went much better, despite the fact we hit multiple poles almost instantly. but we made it onto the highway, turned into La Puerta, and made it to downtown. From there, it was a decently straight shot up to the Vinewood Hills, and while this car doesn't have the most brilliant handling like the LM87, it actually did pretty well going through the tight and twisty streets up there. Getting into the hills themselves, I didn't have much time left, and realizing this, I tried to take a shortcut, but an unfortunate landing spelled the end to my run. While this was disappointing, it made me know that this was possible. I just had to improve my racing lines and a bit of my strategy. For all future attempts, I changed up my starting position, taking use of this small gap between the tree and pole to squeeze through with a wheelie. Apparently that discovery actually did come in handy, so that's good I guess. The next two attempts both came painfully close, only missing out by a few seconds each. But finally, on attempt number 5, I had the run of dreams. Taking the best racing lines yet, getting lucky with traffic spawns, and by the time I got to the Vinewood Hills, I was already a few seconds faster than all my previous attempts. However, knowing that there was a turn coming up that dramatically slowed me down, I decided to take a risk and try the shortcut just one more time. And oh yes, you beauty! If we're being real honest here, I didn't actually have that much faith I'd be able to complete the time trial on this vehicle. Typically you want a really fast car or bike for these things, but you know what? The Ruiner treated me well. And God, I'm happy it did, because if that $1.3 million went down the drain, I may put myself down the drain. And die. But now with that done, it's time for today's public service announcement. If you are unaware, this week we have triple money on MC Clubhouse contracts. Now usually these missions aren't that great, but with triple money they are definitely worth a shot. So let's go ahead and do one just for a bit of fun. But first I do have a little surprise. Along with the triple money on the contracts, the MC Clubhouses themselves are also on discount. And with most of my businesses now being located in the Vespucci Del Perro area, it seems about time we relocate our motorcycle clubhouse as well. Our current clubhouse is up here in Sandy Shores, but we are going to be moving that business down here to the Del Perro beach. All in all, the new clubhouse will cost around about $800,000, but we can trade in our old one for $370,000, meaning we do actually lose about $430K in the move, which most of you will probably say is not worth it, but the convenience of this new location definitely is. And anyways, you should know by now I have no life and will make that money back in no time, so no problem. Despite all that, this is a fantastic move, because now instead of having to drive all the way up to Sandy Shores every time I do a bike delivery or want to upgrade an MC business, I just have to come down here, which is only a minute drive away from my apartment and most other businesses. So we headed inside and went up to the contract board. Now, this little contract here is called Life and Death Bikes, and is actually one of the newly added contracts with the Criminal Enterprises DLC, so this should be a good bit of fun. Malk wants us to go and disrupt the deal of another biker gang, but first we are going to go and steal this so-called death bike, which is used for causing death, I assume. And speaking of death, it's about time we increase our death arsenal, or weapon arsenal. Now at level 90, we have access to the heavy sniper, which is an absolute beast. And I also picked up the War Machine grenade launcher, because I like chaos. With our supply of water pistols increased, we headed over to the house in the hills to take out the guards, with extreme measures. A lot of explosives, as you can see on screen. We then made our way inside and found a secret elevator hidden to go downstairs into a secret mod shop. From here, we stole the death bike, and if I may, holy shit, this thing is sick! Okay, so we've collected our highly destructive two-wheeled mode of transportation. Now it's time to go disrupt this deal, which is located up in North Chumash. I definitely didn't die there. You didn't see anything. Ah, well that was easy. Okay, with all that cleared up, we got another call from Malk asking if we wanted to bring the death bike back to the clubhouse to sell for a bit of extra cash. Desmond didn't listen to a thing he said except for the word money. He heard that and he was in. So we took the bike back to the clubhouse, completing the mission and pocketing 120K, which is, you know, pretty good considering how enjoyable that mission actually is. I would definitely recommend trying this one out if you haven't already. Okay, now let's get back to what the main focus of this video is: cars. Now, while the Ruiner is the main star of the show, there are some final updates I have yet to showcase in my videos. And these are the two vehicle showrooms located in Los Santos. So let's go take a look. The first one is located in the upper end district of Los Santos and showcases the more premium vehicles in the city. But let's be honest, this is shit. While it is cool to see the vehicles in person, there are only 2 of them and you can't even walk inside the building or test drive them. I honestly don't know what Rockstar had in mind for this place, but it is a massive disappointment. I really hope they change it in the future. So moving on from that, let's go and check out the other place. And unfortunately, it is none other than my business rival, Simeon. It seems he has finally stepped up his game and is letting people actually come inside the store for the first time in 9 years. I'm honestly baffled he hasn't gone bankrupt yet. Anyways, it's nice to finally be able to come in here and see what's on offer. Now, the vehicles themselves aren't anything special, but Simeon the goddamn idiot gave us the ability to take them out for a test drive. Oh, Simeon, you don't understand the power you have just given me. That was a great way to burn some time, and a lot of Simeon's cash as well, I would hope. Now it's just time to unplug all of Lester's electronics, scream sweet nothings into my assistant's ear, and, we can probably just leave Laszlo alone. He's bad enough as it is.